days.
Okay, so if an employee gets promoted, they better not get sick within that.
No.
No.
After 90 days, in the first 90 days, yeah.
Okay. Oh, employment.
So they've already, so their coverage, so under the ACA, their coverage would continue, so it wouldn't restart new. So they would be covered so the ACA says new employees must use by 90 days. So if they get promoted, they've worked at the district at least 90 days already, then they can use sick leave on day one of their new promotion.
Okay.
I have 2 comments.
Go ahead.
In 2.3.3, I think we talked about this in the committee. I think it just got overlooked, get taken out. The last paragraph, it says, the second sentence says the general manager in conjunction with the employee's supervisor or department head may extend the probation period. Pretty sure we talked about taking out supervisor or and just put the general manager in conjunction with the employee's department head.
Right. And
Sorry,
that's not in there?
No, supervisor is still in there.
I took it out.
Okay.
My other comment is in 2.3.2, in the second paragraph that was added. Currently, the practice is to bring all new hires to the board for notification, not for approval. The position has already been approved by the board, and I brought this up in committee, and I really agree with it then, and I don't agree with it now, is that although I wholly agree that any new hires should be presented to the board as positions being filled, they shouldn't be presented to the board for the board to approve hiring a specific person.
Say that last part again.
I don't think the board should be the one determining whether we're going to hire a specific person. The board will already have approved positions at a set rate.
Job description.
You've already approved the job description, the compensation.
I agree with that
And
statement.
the opening of that position. I don't feel it's appropriate for the board to approve a specific person. Currently, the board does not approve a specific person.
No, but it was in our previous.
I know it
Policy
was,
just wasn't being followed.
but it wasn't in this policy.
But it was a current practice longer than it wasn't a current practice.
It wasn't really a current practice. It was a.
It was in the policy.
Yeah, you're right. It was in the last policy. But my point is the board shouldn't be the ones making the final determination on whether we should hire a person or not. That should be done through the people who are most knowledgeable about those positions that are being filled.
I think the concern was when it got put in was that we never had a general manager living locally, and that there are times when you hire somebody that everybody in the room may know it's a really bad idea because we all live here and know the person, and I think that was kind of the reason why that got put in there.
But that's discriminatory. That has nothing to do with the criteria of I mean, if you just say, well, I know that guy's a bad apple, you can't just say, don't hire that guy, and then you thumbs up or thumbs down him. That's discriminatory as hell, in my opinion.
Okay.
You wanna talk about legal fights?
Because if that was the case, then we would have to present.
Those guys on the board didn't want me here.
We would have to present all the.
That's why I didn't get the job.
Present all the candidates, and the board would have to pick through all the candidates.
I wish I could bring names in. I really do. Anyway, what's the consensus?
I agree with.
Yeah, I know. What's the consensus? Is there any consensus over here?
Yeah, I feel if they chose the people and they're fine with what they bring into the table, we shouldn't be the ones to say no.
Okay, so so take the shall out.
So I would just remove the last sentence of that paragraph. The board of directors shall review and approve such selection.
And that's why I wrote it the way I did, is because I wanted there to be a provision that, under the policy manual, that the person is presented to the board. Like, you know that job that you guys approved, that we hired, that position that we hired for, this is the guy.
Yep.
Meet and greet.
Yep.
That's what I envisioned.
So are we just keeping the probationary period section as written? Just to.
I'm okay with it. We can take we're gonna take the shall out approval,
Well, you'd have to drop the
but the
last
rest of it
sentence,
is,
the last sentence of that.
I just removed the last sentence of
Yeah.
2.3.2.
Oh, I see, okay. Who's moving?
So just the board's gonna be notified of the final applicants, and the general manager or designee shall select the applicant to be employed to fill the position opening and shall promptly notify the board of the name of the person selected.
To
So
clarify
the
your
board
previous,
can be involved as like an FYI, but the staff will have final say.
clarify your previous question, I don't think there's consensus on the probation.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
I don't think we're gonna come to one tonight.
So should I can do this, I can take Director Parent's comments and form a new provision and kind of meld the two together and bring it back to the board.
I have a question. So if we're gonna be, taking provisions, melding it together and bringing it back, that means that this won't get approved tonight.
And that's fine. But it's an option, I'm providing all possible options.
You guys wanna change the whole probationary thing?
Do you think that people who are promoted should be in probation, or do you think that?
I see where Director Strange is coming from, but I feel we should try them out to see if they could work for that job, because if they can't, they're not suitable for the job, for that promotion, they should be able to go back to the job they had.
And that was my intention with the way I looked into that, and it's, if, you have a good person, we don't promote people to fire them. We don't wanna hire people to fire them. I don't think any organization wants to do that.
Right.
So that's just kinda how I worded it for, that purpose.
So maybe what
Giving
I'm
people an
hearing
out.
is that we keep,
I think that when we promote somebody, there needs to be a probationary period, so that we have affirmation that they're able to do the job.
so what I'm hearing is that we're gonna keep 2.3.3 as written, and what the board is considering adopting differently is the promotional probation, which is 2.4, and adding something in there about what happens if they fail probation.
Well, I don't know if you can solve the scenario, but
Well, you might be able to, I mean, if the promotion, if the promoted person's probationary period is shorter than the new hire's probation period, you could probably.
well, it is, it's 6 months versus a year.
Yeah.
Can it
But
be
that
a
doesn't
consensus
resolve
of
the fact that you
GM?
have,
Maybe?
an employee going back to a position, that
Decision.
there's somebody already rehired or hired.
What if you promoted somebody to fill the position, the promoted person got filled, and they're both at a 6-month duration?
Can it be that like general manager make that decision? Cause I got promoted, I would have never taken this job if I had been back on probation.
I think you guys are misunderstanding.
But that was a
the term
contract,
probation.
that's a contractual situation though.
I know,
That's
but
different.
even if like Liliana moves from account clerk to account clerk operations coordinator, she goes back on probation. Who would do that?
But it's probation for performing that specific
Performance of
job,
the job.
with
But if
a
you're in
clause that allows
probation-
you to go back to your
I know it's
previous
not my
job.
place, but if you're on probation, can you or cannot you be fired for any reason?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
But not,
that's
I disagree with that. I disagree
I
with
think
that.
Maybe that's
I
the
don't
problem.
think, I don't think it's,
States.
So let's look at it in the big picture. If you're being promoted, you're obviously been selected because you know how to do.
you're the best candidate for the job.
You're
You're the only candidate for the job.
So,
It doesn't matter.
so if you work for me and I think that you're gonna do a good job in that position, then I'm gonna,
The odds are you're gonna be all behind this person.
if you say, you know what, I really don't think I can do that job, you willingly took that job. Nobody's forcing you to take that job. So you take a promotion on the chance that maybe you don't do it. So personally, I don't think that you should be put back. I think you should either be put in a position and figure it out.
Succeed or
Succeed.
shove off.
Or you run the risk of being
Okay, well.
terminated.
In my public employee experience, when you promote, your promotional probation isn't you can be terminated without cause. There is no such thing.
Maybe it needs to be worded differently, maybe.
There is no such thing.
You're talking about
Yeah,
promotional.
so maybe we need a
promotional probation.
promotional probation. Yeah, because the intent is not to promote the person, so now I can fire them next week.
Right.
That's not what it's about.
It's,
Yeah.
it's about
Yeah, but
security.
that's
That's
not
what
what,
people
that's
would
not
worry
what it's about.
It's about security. So if you're looking at yourself, if you're calling yourself a probationary employee, so you've worked 10 years, you're out of your probation by 9 years, you get your promotion, and now you're back on probation, it's a security issue, because that instills in the mind of that person that just got the promotion, oh no, I could be hired, fired in the next 6 months.
Oh no, I'm a good employee, what are they gonna fire me for?
But it's,
Not liking it?
Well, I can't, I don't know.
let's talk worst case. So somebody doesn't like that employee, they promote
But that
them,
doesn't
so they're
work.
back on probation, and
That
boom,
wasn't
now I can
It
terminate
doesn't- It
them.
doesn't work that way. in
It was more of
public
a, I
employment.
guess it was more of a probationary period tied to the position is what I was after.
But that's not what it says, it's ambiguous.
Yeah,
So that's what we need to do.
well, it's not as ambiguous as what we have here, is it?
So can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
Language, okay. So this is another personnel policy I wrote, so, this is the language that we came to an agreement with the union. Employees promoted shall be subject to an additional 6-month promotional probationary period. During a promotional probationary period, employees will continue to be considered regular employees, will accrue seniority, and shall be protected in disciplinary procedures as other regular employees. If the employee is not recommended for permanent status in such promotional position, he or she shall be entitled to return to the position for which he or she was promoted, provided he or she was a regular employee in such position and a vacancy exists, or one will be created as the result of another employee being promoted. If the employee was not accorded permanent status for any reason other than the inability to perform the duties of the new position, he or she shall not be entitled to be restored to the position for which she was promoted.
I'm fine with that.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I didn't get all of it, but it sounded
Let
good.
me type it up real fast.
Cut and paste, cut and paste.
She is really, she does that.
She is really good with that.
Yeah, it really is.
Another thing that you could do is add permanent,
Oops. What's happening?
permanent full-time.
Oh yeah, that clarifies it.
You were a permanent full-time employee, state of California,
Yes.
right? That was your classification, or that, not your classification, but
Status.
your status, yeah.
That always was a weird one. It always scared me while promoting.
Yeah, you shouldn't be scared of promotional
But when you have,
probation.
yeah,
That's silliness. You go in to do the job the best you can, and they believe you're the best candidate to do it. So
I know, but then you
have
put,
everything going for you, but,
and then you put that
where I
previous
worked-
management in there
Where I
though.
worked, if you passed an interview and passed a performance evaluation as an equipment operator, right? You got promoted to equipment operator. And then if you go out and smash every piece of equipment that they have within the first 6 months, you're gonna go back to worker.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be.
They're not just gonna can you.
They're not gonna fire you,
Right.
unless they can prove that you were doing it intentionally.
Willfully, right.
But if you just can't do
Not
it,
Caltrans.
Right,
then you go back to being a worker.
right.
And I saw it happen, it didn't happen a lot, but it happened once in a while.
Yeah, anything's possible, for sure.
It's only an entry level,
Look at no mistakes or anything.
I shouldn't say entry level, it's only the open exam
Crazy.
positions that it affects until you acquire permanent full-time status. And then once you have permanent full-time status, then you have guaranteed to the job you had prior.
I see.
That's where it's at.
Within-
that's all
at a
negotiable.
location-
That's
at a
negotiable.
location within
Oh,
35
yeah, four
miles of your,
mistakes.
of your original
But
workplace.
this is all that's
Yeah,
not a
we would have-
right? That's like negotiable.
That's a negotiated.
Yeah.
That
No,
was the
that's,
math typer in 6th grade.
that's a good safety net though, man.
She's amazing at that.
We were admiring the speed.
We couldn't read it
That
so
was the math
fast.
type of my 6th grade class.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you guys see this wording, or can you make it bigger?
We see it.
Well, maybe some of us don't.
You wanna read it, Dogs?
So, employee
Don't
promoted,
transmissions. in a truck.
employees employees promoted shall be subject to an additional 6-month promotional probationary period.
Listen, listen,
During a promotional probationary period, employees will continue to be considered regular employees, will accrue seniority, and shall be protected in disciplinary procedures as other regular employees. If the employee is not recommended for permanent status in such promotional position, he or she shall be entitled to return to the position for which he or she was promoted, provided he or she was a regular employee in such position and a vacancy exists, or one will be created as the result of another employee being promoted. If the employee was not accorded permanent status for any reason other than the inability to perform the duties of the new position, he or she shall not be entitled to be restored to the position from which he or she was promoted.
That's great. Let's move into chapter 15.
can't say you're not funny.
So wait one second, so we fixed that one, and then, fixed promotion, I think 2.5, Joe, you had some, Director Parent, you had a comment about nepotism?
Nepotism.
Oh, yeah, well, before that, I think that we should add the orientation, basically saying, spelling out that the new employees will get, do you remember that one? I have add
Yeah.
section 2, I just put it 2.x because it didn't have a number. New probationary employee shall be provided a copy of the personnel policy manual. After employees review the manual, she shall attend an orientation session with the general manager or his designee. At that time, general manager or designee shall discuss the general operation of the Smcsd, the employee's role in making the Smcsd an efficient and effective operation, and answer questions to the employees of the employee pertinent to his or her employment. The general manager or his designee shall note in the employee's personnel file that the date of the orientation meeting. So basically, you're gonna meet with the general manager, you discuss these things will be clarified.
You're gonna be given this
Documentation
book.
that happened, so that we all understand it.
You're gonna be issued this manual.
You're gonna read it, and you're gonna discuss it with somebody, a supervisor.
What do you mean if you have questions? You're not gonna sit down and go,